Good morning, students. In the previous session, from dual nature of radiation and matter, we covered a number of topics. We know radiation has a dual nature. One is wave nature, another one is particle nature. Wave nature and particle nature. When it behaves as a wave, when it is behaves as a particle. Okay. The radiation, when it is interact with the air, it behaves as a wave. When it is interact with matter, okay, when it is interact with the air, it behaves as a wave. When it is interact with matter, it behaves as a particle. And also we discussed electron emission. What is meant by the electron emission? Electron emission. So the emission of electron from the metal surface is called electron emission. So again the electron emissions we have three types. One is thermal ionic emission, field emission, photoelectric emission. Okay, na? So the emission of electron is possible by three different ways. One is thermal ionic emission, that is by supplying or by heating up to 2500 degrees centigrade. And field emission, by applying the high electric field, that is 10 power 8 volt per meter, we can emission the electron from the metal surface. And also photoelectric effect, the emission of electron by a suitable frequency or wavelength incident on the metal surface. So the photoelectric emission depends on nature of materials, that is some of the materials sensible for ultraviolet rays, example zinc and cadmium, and some of the materials, examples potassium, cesium, rubidium, were all sensible even though visible light. They are called alkali metals. And also in the previous session we discussed work function. It is denoted by W naught. What is meant by the work function? The minimum amount of energy required to eject an electron from the metal surface is called work function. Okay, na? The work function depends on nature of material and it is measured in electron volt. Okay, na? So the platinum is highest value among all the materials, that is 5.65 electron volt, and cesium has a least work function, that is nearly 2.16 electron volt. And also we discussed photoelectric effect. What is meant by the photoelectric effect? So the emission of electron from the metal surface when it is illuminated by a light having certain frequency. Okay, na? The emission of electron from the metal surface when the surface illuminated by a light of suitable frequency. Okay, na? Next, the frequency below which the photoelectric effect does not place is called threshold frequency. The frequency below which the photoelectric effect does not takes place is called threshold frequency. So these are the some of the physical quantities we already discussed in the previous section. And also we discussed experimental determination of photoelectric effect. So from the experiment we discussed the various relations between stopping potential, photoelectric current, intensity. Okay, na? We know from the explanation the photoelectric current, that is saturation current, photocurrent is always directly proportional to intensity, whereas stopping potential is independent on intensity. Stopping potential is depends on frequency. What is meant by the stopping potential or retarding potential? The potential, the negative potential at which the photoelectric effect is stops is called stopping potential. So in the previous session we are already discussed the relations between stopping potential and frequency, and stopping potential and intensity, and variation of photoelectric current with the intensity. Okay. Now in this session we are going to discuss the further topic, that is quantum theory, and our next topic is quantum theory. We know the light consists of particles having some energy and momentum, and this light behaves as a particle when it is interact with the matter. Okay na? So light consists of particles having some energy and momentum, and behaves as a particle when interacting with matter. According to Einstein, these particles are called photons. These particles are called photons, and according to quantum theory, every photon having some energy and momentum. From Einstein relation, the energy of the each photon is h nu. E is equal to hc by lambda, where c is velocity of light. We know the value of velocity of light is 3 into 10 power 8 meter per second, and h is the constant, and its value 6.62 into 10 power minus 34 joule second, and lambda is the wavelength, and nu is the frequency. Okay na? And later also Einstein explained the rest mass of the photon is 0. Rest mass of photon, that is m naught, is 0, and charge of photon is 0 because it is not deflected by both electric and magnetic field. If the photon moving with velocity okay na, during the motion the mass of the photon m, then if m naught is the rest mass, m is equal to m naught by root over 1 minus v square by c square. Okay na? So if m is the mass of the photon while it is moving in a medium with a velocity, if c is the velocity of light, then mass of the photon m is equal to m naught by root over 1 minus v square by c square, where m naught is the rest mass of the photon. Next, we know the photon is a neutral charged particle, that is it is not deflected by the both electric and magnetic field. If p is the momentum of the particle, p is equal to h by lambda, So lambda is equal to h by p. Okay, lambda is equal to h by p. And if according to Einstein mass energy relation, E is equal to mc square, photon is not a particle, it is the bundle of energy. So the energy can be calculated, E is equal to mc square. And we can also calculate the energy of the photon if the wavelength in angstroms. E is equal to hc by lambda, where c is equal to 3 into 10 power 8 meter per second, lambda is in angstroms, and the value of h 6.62 into 10 power minus 34 joule second. So E is equal to 6.62 into 10 power minus 34, velocity of light 3 into 10 power 8 by lambda in angstroms. Multiply the above equation EV and divide with EV, that is electron volt. So E is equal to 6.62 into 10 power minus 34 into 3 into 10 power 8 into 1.6 into 10 power minus 19, that is 1 electron volt is equal to 1 electron volt equal to 1.6 into 10 power minus 19 joules. Okay, by calculating E is equal to nearly 12,400 eV by lambda in angstroms. This is the value of energy of the photon in electron volts. Okay, na? Energy of the photon E is equal to 12,400 eV by lambda in angstroms. So this is the explanation from the quantum theory. Okay, na? So according to Einstein, the light consists of particles associated with some momentum and energy, and these particles interact with the matter. When the light interact with the matter, it behaves like a particle. Later these particles are photons. So some of the properties belongs to photon. The energy of the photon from Einstein relation, E is equal to h nu, that is hc by lambda, where h is the Planck constant, c is the velocity of light, lambda is the wavelength, and nu is the frequency. Okay, now. And the rest mass of the photon is 0 and its charge is 0. If m naught is the rest mass, m is the mass of the photon while moving in a medium or interact with the matter, m is equal to m naught by root over 1 minus v square by c square. Okay, na? Next, if p is the momentum of the particle, p is equal to h by lambda, where c is equal to nu lambda, lambda is equal to c by nu, we can write. Okay, na? So momentum can be written as p is equal to h nu by c. Okay, na? Then according to Einstein mass energy relation, E is equal to mc square, photon is the bundle of energy, packet of energy, and the energy can be calculated from this equation E is equal to hc by lambda, and the value of energy of the photon in electron volts, E is equal to 12,400 eV when lambda in angstroms. And our next topic is Einstein photoelectric equation. According to Einstein photoelectric equation, the incident photon energy utilized in two ways. One is to remove an electron from the metal surface, and some part of energy utilized to import the kinetic energy to the electron. We know photoelectric electric effect is nothing but the emission of electron from the metal surface when it is illuminated by a light of suitable frequency or wavelength. Let E is equal to h nu is the incident photon energy. Okay na? When the energy, the photon having some energy incident on a metal plate, some part of energy utilized to remove an electron, that is work done. Okay na? W naught, where W naught is the work function. Okay na? Where W naught is equal to h into nu naught, where nu naught is the threshold frequency, okay na? And some part of energy imported kinetic energy to the electron, that is Ke is equal to half m V maximum square. Okay na? We know nu naught is the threshold frequency, the frequency below which the photoelectric effect does not takes place. Okay na? So according to Einstein photoelectric equation, the incident energy is utilized in two ways. One is to remove an electron and remaining energy supplies as a kinetic energy to the electron. So it follows the law of conservation of energy. If h nu is the incident photon energy, W naught plus half m V maximum square, h nu is equal to h nu naught plus half m V maximum square. So h nu minus h nu naught is equal to half m V maximum square. So nu minus nu naught is equal to E into Vs. We are already discussed the maximum kinetic energy of the electron E into Vs. Okay na? So from this equation we can write Vs by nu minus nu naught is equal to h by E. We know the graphical relation between stopping potential and frequency, that is frequency is directly proportional to the stopping potential. If we draw a graph between stopping potential and frequency, the graph versus frequency and stopping potential gives h by E, that is slope of the curves h by E is equal to Vs by nu minus nu naught, where nu naught is the frequency, threshold frequency, nu is the frequency of the light incident. Okay na? So this is about Einstein photoelectric equation. So what is meant by the Einstein photoelectric equation? According to Einstein, the incident energy utilized in two ways. One is to some part of energy utilized to remove an electron from the metal surface, and remaining part utilized to import as a kinetic energy to the electron. Okay, so these are the different equations to calculate different physical quantities from Einstein photoelectric equation. And our next topic is wave nature of the matter from de Broglie hypothesis. We know radiation has a dual nature. It behaves like a wave when it is interact with the air, it behaves like a particle when it is interact with the matter, and these waves are called matter waves, okay na? And the wavelength is called de Broglie wavelength. These waves are called matter waves. What is meant by the matter waves? The waves associated with moving particles. Waves associated with moving particle are called matter waves, and the wavelength is called de Broglie wavelength. Wavelength lambda is called de Broglie wavelength. If P is the momentum of the particle, we know lambda is equal to h by P. Okay na? We know the relation between kinetic energy and the momentum, K is equal to P square by 2m, where P is equal to root over 2mk. Then we can write lambda is equal to h by root over 2mk, another formula for the wavelength. The maximum kinetic energy of the particle K is equal to E into Vs, where Vs is the stopping potential. So lambda is equal to h by root over 2m EVS. So these are the some of the expressions for the wavelength of the particles. Okay na? So what is meant by the matter waves? The waves associated with the moving particles are called matter waves, and the wavelength is called de Broglie wavelength. And in this topic we are going to discuss the wave nature of the matter and the wavelength of the waves associated with the moving particles. Here we have some of the particles having different kind of wavelengths and different kind of value of wavelengths. So from the de Broglie hypothesis, the expression for the wavelength of a particle lambda is equal to h by p, and the value of the wavelength is different for different particles. In the case of electron, the expression for the wavelength lambda is equal to 12.27 by root V, where V is the accelerating voltage. And if the wavelength lambda is in angstroms, practically it is obtained 1.67 angstroms. Okay na? And also in the case of proton, lambda is equal to 0.286 by root V angstroms, where V is the voltage. And for a neutron, lambda is equal to 0.202 by root E angstroms, where E is the energy of the particles. And for a alpha particle, lambda is equal to 0.101 by root V angstroms. And for a neutron, lambda is equal to 0.286 by root E angstroms. So these are the values of wavelengths of different particles from the de Broglie hypothesis. And our next topic is division and Germer experiment. So in the last topic we discussed de Broglie hypothesis. Okay na? So the waves, the radiation behaves like a wave when interact with the air and behaves like a particle when interact with the matter. And already we discussed from the de Broglie hypothesis lambda is equal to h by p, that equal to 1.67 angstroms, the wavelength of an electron. Okay na? So it is experimentally verified by Davison and Germer. Okay. So here we are having an apparatus. In this apparatus we have an electron gun with a filament coated with barium oxide. Okay na? It consists of a electron gun with tungsten filament coated with barium oxide, and electrons emitted from the filament by applying suitable low voltage from the power supply. Okay. So the electrons emitted from the electron gun by applying to this suitable low voltage power supply. The electrons, that is stream of electrons emitted from the electron gun, allowed through a cylinder along its axis such that to form a narrow collimated beam, and this stream of electrons accelerated with desired velocity by applying high voltage. Okay na? So once the electrons allowed through the cylinder with a fine hole, these electrons are accelerated with desired velocity by applying suitable high voltage. So the collimator beam is incident on a target material made up of nickel. Okay na? So the electrons scattered at an angle theta after incident on a nickel target, and these are observed by the detector, that is movable detector with a galvanometer. Okay na? So practically we observed the particular angle, that is phi, the angle of scattering is phi. The maximum strength of the electron we identified at an angle phi is equal to 50 degrees at applied voltage V is equal to 50 volts. Okay na? From the practical, so the Davison and Germer observed high energetic electron scattered at an angle 50 degrees and at applied voltage 50 volts. Okay. So from the de Broglie hypothesis, the value of wavelength of the electron 1.16 angstrom theoretically. Now we want to calculate practically the wavelength of the electron from Davison and Germer. From Bragg's law, the wavelength of the light lambda is equal to 2d sin theta. Lambda is equal to 2d sin theta, where d is the interatomic distance of the molecules and its value d is equal to 0.91 angstroms. Okay na? So from the diagram, if phi is the angle of scattering, then we can write theta plus phi plus theta is equal to 180 degrees, 2 theta plus phi is equal to 180 degrees. So 2 theta is equal to 180 minus phi, 2 theta is equal to 180 minus 50. So 2 theta is equal to 130, theta is equal to 65 degrees. Okay na? Then from Bragg's law, lambda is equal to 2d sin theta. By substituting lambda is equal to 2 into 0.91 angstroms into sin 65 degrees. So we obtained identical or equal to 1.65 angstroms. Say it is equation 2. Okay na? So from equation 1 and 2 we conclude that theoretically from de Broglie hypothesis, the particle wave nature lambda is equal to 1.67, the wavelength of the electron. Similarly, from this experiment, the value of wavelength of electron lambda is equal to 1.65 angstroms. So we can conclude that radiation has dual nature. One is particle nature when it is interact with the matter, and wave nature when it is interact with the air. So this is the conclusion from de Broglie hypothesis and division and Germer experiment. So in this session we discussed quantum theory and de Broglie hypothesis and practical explanation of the wavelength of the electron from the division and Germer experiment.